Hey babies, welcome back to another Deck Tech and Modern League. This week, because there just wasn't enough math in a regular game of Magic for me, I'm playing Hardened Scales. The deck list is on screen now and in the description below. It's relatively cheap on Magic Online, and if you're not familiar with it, this deck has a lot of really fun synergies and interactions. So let's get into the deck tech. First off, we have our namesake card, Hardened Scales. It's a 1-mana green enchantment that says if one or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature you control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are placed on it instead. Our entire deck is built around this, and all of our hands are much better if we have at least one Hardened Scales in them. Starting off with our 1-mana creatures, we have 4 copies of Esper Sentinel, which does a good job of either giving us some card advantage or taxing our opponent's non-creature spells. And we have 4 copies of Zabaz, which has Modular 1, and it has an ability that adds a +1/+1 counter whenever we get a modular ability on a creature we control. In our 2-drop slot, we have 4 copies of the old school affinity powerhouse Arcbound Ravager, which can get really big by sacrificing artifacts on our board to put counters on it, and it also has modular. And we have 4 copies of the new card Patchwork Automaton, which has Ward 2 to protect itself, and it says whenever we cast an artifact spell, we put a +1/+1 counter on Patchwork Automaton. Then we have our XXs, 4 copies of Hangerback Walker, which gets X +1/+1 counters, can put more counters on itself, and whenever it dies, we get a 1/1 Thopter for every counter on it. And we have 4 copies of Walking Ballista, which we can use to ping our opponent's face or shoot down their creatures. For our non-creature artifacts, we're playing 2 copies of Welding Jar to protect our stuff, 2 copies of the Ozolith, which also has really good counter synergies, and it says whenever a creature we control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, we put those counters on the Ozolith, and at the beginning of combat on our turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, we can move all those counters onto a target creature. We have 1 copy of Animation Module as a possible go-wide plan, that also works really well with Arcbound Ravager. 1 copy of Shadowspear since we can get it with Urza's Saga, and it's a great way to beat down with Trample and Lifelink if we have a large creature. 1 copy of Springleaf Drum so we can either get a little ramp going, or just not lose mana to the Urza's Saga ultimate, and 2 copies of Ancient Stirrings as a little bit of card selection. Starting off our mana base with our colorless lands, we have 4 copies of Inkmoth Nexus because it's pretty easy to use it as a win condition since we can move counters onto it, and 4 copies of Urza's Saga because it's one of the better cards in the format for artifact decks like this. 4 Horizon Canopies as mana fixing that can also be sacked to draw a card if we're flooding, 4 Razorverge Thicket, and 2 Spire of Industries, 1 Branchloft Pathway, 1 Beseiju, and 1 Pendlehaven, and finally 1 Basic Forest and 1 Basic Plains. In our sideboard, we have 4 copies of Natural State as Artifact and Enchantment Destruction, 3 copies of Prismatic Ending as Flexible Removal, and 1 copy of Veil of Summer mostly as protection from counterspells and discard, 1 Basilisk Collar so we can use it along with Walking Ballista to gun down all of our opponent's creatures with Death Touch, 1 Pithing Needle for pesky activated abilities, and 1 Relic of Progenitus for graveyard decks, 2 Void Mirrors mostly for Cascade decks, 1 Damping Sphere for Storm-style combo and Tron, and 1 Torpor Orb for decks with a lot of annoying ETBs. And that's the deck tech. Let me know what you think of the deck in the comments, and if there's a deck you'd like me to cover in the future, be sure to let me know. And let's get into the games! Alright, round 1 with Hardened Scales, we won the die roll, that's fantastic. Let's see. 3 lands, Esper Sentinel on turn 1, Patchwork on turn 2, and a couple of Arcbounds, that seems pretty good. We would really like to find a Hardened Scales, but this hand is okay without it currently. If we can get some extra cards from Esper Sentinel, that would be fantastic. Alright, let's go Razorverge Thicket, Esper Sentinel. Pass the turn. Hopefully our opponent will be greedy and we'll get a card out of this. They play Swamp. They're thinking about Thought Seizing, maybe? The Esper Sentinel against what I can only assume is 8-rack. That bodes very well for us. We don't have the card draw that Affinity does, but that was a lot of loss of card advantage for an 8-rack deck to have to deal with on turn 1. Raven's Crime. And the rack. Makes sense. Always yield. I need to remember to hit 5 in case that ever becomes relevant, but yield. Okay. Plays a Zabaz or Zabaz or whatever the fuck. Patchy goes up to 3. And attack. Glimmer Wasp double Ravager actually means that we might be able to do some funky stuff with modular triggers. Lily of the Veil. Okay. Does it matter if I put it on patchy or not? If I get an Ozolith, I'll wish that it was on Zabaz, I think. But I don't think it would actually matter now that I think about it. We hit Lily for 1. Let's put it on Zabaz. I think it's better to spread it out. Patchwork Automaton. Interesting. Play Patchwork. Okay. Play Ravager. Okay. How much damage can I do? I have 8 right now. I can sacrifice Patchwork Automaton. Arcbound goes up to 2. Sacrifice Arcbound. Get an extra counter from it. Still not quite be dealing lethal. If I sacrifice Zabaz to Arcbound, it's the same as if I sacrifice Arcbound to itself without sacrificing Zabaz. Let's just go to combat. I think we should have our opponent dead relatively soon anyway, probably next turn. They might needle Arcbound Ravager. That could be a little annoying maybe. But we'll see. Honestly, I didn't even really have to attack Lily there, did I? I could have just gone face. Hopefully it won't matter. They don't make a construct. They get a rack. Do they have a Bantu's Last Reckoning maybe? Did they play those in the main deck ever? I'm not certain. What sideboard stuff are we bringing in? Ooh, Veil of Summer is going to be really good. All right, our opponent concedes. Yeah, we're going to bring in Veil of Summer, Natural State, maybe Prismatic Ending. Natural State hitting their Urza Sagas seems pretty sweet. Veil of Summer for sure. Let's cut down on what? Most of our cards seem kind of fine, is the issue. I don't think Prismatic Ending is quite good enough. Maybe I bring in Pithing Needle for Lily. And possibly for Urza Saga, although I don't really want to hit mine. I think we can cut Welding Jar and feel fine about it, at least one of them. I think I cut Ancient Stirrings because if I go Ancient Stirrings and don't cast the thing immediately, they get to know it's in my hand and then possibly take it. I think I want to get rid of... what? This actually feels like a matchup where Walking Ballista isn't great, which feels weird. I don't think I have ever sided out Walking Ballista, but I'm kind of thinking about siding out like 2 of them. Just because outside of the kill combo, it doesn't really remove anything. I'll get rid of the other Welding Jar. I also kind of want Relic. Am I siding out a Walking Ballista? Alright, I'm gonna side out 2 Walking Ballistas. It doesn't feel right to me. It might be. Let me know what you think. I don't really know what else I would have sided out. Maybe Zabaz, but... or Zabaz. I want to know how to say Zabaz Zabaz. And I also want to know if that sideboarding decision was correct. Alright, so my opponent's probably going to Thoughtseize me and take Esper Sentinel. I think this hand's fine anyway, so let's keep it. We have both of our colors. We have a reasonable amount of lands. Ooh, they didn't take Esper Sentinel. Spicy. I think I can get rid of Walking Ballista. Play Esper Sentinel, see if they give us a free card or not. If they have removal, they'll probably just pay 2 mana into it. I would assume. They play Dark Confidant instead. Okay. Let's play Inkmoth Nexus and Patchy. And I don't think I want to attack with the Esper Sentinel. They get a rack. Okay. Mishra's Factory. Dothi Voidwalker. They haven't cast any discard spells yet. Kind of weird. I think I might be needling Voidwalker based on the current board state. Needling on Factory could also be fine. I don't really think... no. Ooh, Springleaf Drum. I think we're just going to try to race them. They've committed enough creatures to the board that I don't think they have Bontu's Last Reckoning. Damn, I did that in the wrong order. Fuck. Alright. Well, I already messed up. But oh well. Do I even needle Dothi Voidwalker? I don't think I would have anything that they could steal that I care about. That's very interesting. I think I'm just gonna needle Liliana, not even knowing if they have it or not, and attack. Alright. Opponent gets a March. Which one does that do? That's the Neg-X one, right? It's not Neg-X, it's a deals X damage and you gain X life. I thought it was -X. That's kind of funny. Shows you how much I've played against that March. I did not know people still played that card. If I drew an Ozolith, that would be very sexy. Because I'd be able to move a bunch of counters onto Inkmoth Nexus and kill my opponent like that. Arcbound Ravager. I probably don't even necessarily need that though, because the Ravager should be enough to set up lethal if they attack here. Alright, they get rid of Esper Sentinel, that's fine. They already played their land for turn, so that means they can't target either Patchwork with anything. They play the Rack, that's fine. They're attacking with both? Okay. So I play Arcbound Ravager, this becomes 5, this becomes 3, that's 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. Damn. If I draw another artifact, specifically a 1-drop artifact, I can kill them. So let's see what we draw, I guess. It looks like my missequencing with the Patchwork Automaton didn't mess me up too bad. Sabaz, hooray! Alright. Always yield. Okay. Arcbound Ravager. Okay. Make a white mana. Animate you. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Yes. Oh shit, they're exiling themselves. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I should have noticed that Zabaz didn't give me a trigger. Wow, alright. Alright, let's see if that mattered. I might have just board wiped myself. I know I definitely board wiped myself for no reason, but maybe my opponent will just die? They are at 2, and they have a Dark Confidant, so I guess we'll see. No, they can just kill me by animating Mishra's factory and attacking with everything. Ah, god, that sucks. That's so funny. They didn't animate Mishra's factory. Do they have another rack, maybe? Maybe my opponent will also punt, and it'll even out. Ensnaring Bridge. Well, I'm dead. That was very funny. Okay. I think I want Prismatic Ending now. Because apparently Dothy Voidwalker does a thing against me. So let's bring those in. Let's cut down on natural states. I'll still leave one natural state in, so I can still have an option to get rid of Urza Saga that way. And I think I'm going to bring in the Walking Ballistas since I saw Ensnaring Bridge. Probably cutting Zabas. Alright, let's try it like that. This hand seems fine. We have Urza Saga as some... We have a lot of card advantage stuff, actually, with Esper Sentinel, Urza Saga, and Animation Module. So let's keep. Turn 1 Esper Sentinel seems kind of ridiculous against 8-rack, if I'm being honest. Not as good when you're on the draw, but when you're on the play. Because they can't usually afford to get rid of the card. It slows them down significantly. Let's see. All right, Horizon Canopy, Esper Sentinel. Playing Horizon Canopy hurts a little bit, but we can't help it that much. Swamp go. Oh, shit. Okay. Almost clicked through my turn now. Wow, I'm playing sloppy already. Holy shit. Alright, main phase 2, because I meant to do that. Let's go Spire of Industry, Animation Module. They're going to cast a spell. What's happening? Okay, they give us a card. That's fine. Play an Ozolith. That's the turn. Next turn, we can plan on probably playing Urza Saga into Zabas and a Servo. Inkmoth Nexus might also be a decent pick, though. Opponent plays Dark Confidant. They have 3 cards in hand. Pendlehaven. Yeah, let's go Urza Saga. Zabaz. Triggers. Pay for it. Not gonna paint ourselves with Horizon Canopy this turn. Opponent draws Inquisition. Hopefully they'll fire it off on us. They haven't looked at our hand yet this game, so there's a decent chance we get at least a free card from them looking at a bunch of lands. At least that would make sense. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Haha, haha. I don't have any good stuff in my hand. Do I play Inkmoth Nexus or Pendlehaven? Pendlehaven means that we get to get in right now for some. I don't think I'd be swinging with Inkmoth Nexus relatively soon anyway. Second Urza Saga might change things though, actually. I think that means I want to get Inkmoth Nexus down now because probably next turn I'm going to be playing the other Urza Saga instead of playing Pendlehaven at all. So I think that's fine. Let's attack. I would be fine with Zabaz dying because that gives me another servo and a bunch of counter shenanigans with Modular and Ozolith. Fatal Push. Okay. Counter gets moved over. Yes. We get a trigger from Animation Module. Yes. We actually get another trigger, but I'm going to ignore it because I'd rather have the construct than a 1/1. Animation Module giving you a counter whenever something's put on a permanent makes it a lot better. And our opponent used a Fatal Push without actually saving them any life. So that sounds pretty good to me. Smallpox. We can get through that pretty easy. Honestly, probably sacrificing Horizon Canopy here. Maybe Inkmoth Nexus. Kind of leaning Horizon Canopy, though. I don't know why my opponent is letting me block the Bob. But I'm okay with it. Is it because they're playing Pox now? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm going to be sacrificing the Servo and the Horizon Canopy and discarding Spire of Industry. Opponent's going to be discarding their last card in hand, so our construct is safe. And I think they're basically just dead. Ozolith triggers. No, we don't get to do the animation module trigger. Although that would have been fun. Another Inkmoth Nexus, that's interesting. Let's get a construct. I could needle their saga. I don't know if I care that much. Because I have my own again. I think I'll get a Springleaf Drum. That way I can do more animation module triggers. Play another Urza Saga. Okay. Go to combat. Move the counters. Yes. Make a guy. What's happening? Oh, I started to use the ability instead. Yes, okay. Attack for 8. And I think this game's pretty much over, because I don't know what card my opponent has, but it's probably not good enough. Even if it's Bantus, it means that they're tapped down while we have another Urza's Saga, and can essentially reestablish this exact same board. Yep, there's Bantus. We're going to make mana, because we get to get a servo out of this. Okay. Okay. Yes. God, that's sexy. What a good little combo. And we drew a natural state. That's nasty. Alright. Gonna send a message so they don't get to tutor. Go ahead and make a construct. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sweet. The grind against 8-rack. Hell yeah. Alright, our opponent's hitting us with the GGs. I will send it back. I was able to regain my composure after being humiliated by my own hubris. And let's get into the next match. Alright, round 2, we won the die roll. We already have Hardened Scales, we have Esper Sentinel, Arcbound Ravager, Walking Ballista, Urza's Saga. Seems pretty good. I'd like to draw another land, but Urza's Saga is probably getting Ozolith, and I think we just have kind of a combo, so let's keep. Do I start with Esper Sentinel or Hardened Scales? Starting with Sentinel probably gives me an extra card. And I do like that. Yeah, let's start with Sentinel, I think. And see what our opponent is playing. They're not playing a companion deck, so that's good. Alright, what you got, opponent? Misty Rainforest. Could be lots of things. It's a very played fetch land right now. Looks like opponent is deciding whether or not they want to play something. Are we gonna get card advantage or tempo from Esper Sentinel? And that's all that our opponent did with their turn. We draw Inkmoth Nexus. Okay. Let's go to combat. So let's see, what can I do? I think I want to play Hardened Scales before I play any of my creatures from my hand, for sure. Do I want to play Urza's Saga or Inkmoth Nexus here? If I play Saga, I'm kind of incentivized to just make a construct next turn. Our opponent isn't playing a Yorion deck, and they do have Misty, so it makes me think they're either playing Rhinos or Living End, but they could also be playing Murktide and just didn't have something to play on turn 1. Because I think Murktide plays like 1 or 2 of Misty Rainforest along with their Scalding Tarns. Either way, I'm definitely playing Hardened Scales here, and I think I want to go ahead and play Urza's Saga. And then based on what information I get, I can either make a construct or start deploying my hand next turn. because I want to have Ozolith down sooner rather than later, or Animation Module, or whatever else it winds up being that I'm playing. Animation Module along with Arcbound Ravager is really nice, since you can just keep pumping up your Ravager equal to the amount of mana that you have, more or less. Saga Trigger resolves, play Hardened Scales. If they're playing Living End, I think I want to get Arcbound Ravager down pretty soon, because being able to sacrifice my board in response to a Living End is kind of nice. Breeding Pool. So it doesn't look like Murktide. Looks like they're going to cycle here. Okay, it is Living End. Interesting. I do think that leans me towards playing Arcbound Ravager. Ooh, we get to draw a card. Pretty sweet. Drew something that we can use our mana on. What they exile with Force. Windcaller Aven. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have Graveyard Hate in the main deck to get with our Urza's Saga. But we do get to bring in probably Veil of Summer along with Void Mirror and Relic against them. Maybe Damping Sphere, probably not. That seems pretty nice. Alright, let's play Arcbound Ravager. Animation Module triggers, sure. Get a boy. Attack for 1. And Ravager means they can Living End, and we at least still have Esper Sentinel and Arcbound Ravager. And we're going to get to draw an extra card from this Esper Sentinel now. Another Ravager, okay. Sure. No. I wonder if we're going to be able to combo off. Planes. That definitely helps. Because I can get an Ozolith here. And how big can I get Walking Ballista? Definitely not as big as if I had all the right stuff here. I could just play Hangerback Walker. That might be reasonable. If I play Walking Ballista here, I could play it on 1, have 2 mana, play Hangerback Walker, eat Hangerback Walker, put a counter on Arcbound, puts a counter here, eat... Yeah, it's not going to be quite enough, since they're at 15. Is it better to put Hangerback Walker on 2, or play Hangerback Walker along with a Ravager here? Because they could Living End again. I think I play Hangerback Walker and also a Ravager. I could go Hangerback Walker along with Animation Module, though, too. No, I think Ravager's better. So what do? I could sack Ravager here, put the counter on Hangerback Walker, put another counter on Hangerback Walker. That seems pretty good. I get more counters if I abuse Ozolith more. Let's see, sacrifice Arcbound Ravager, put a counter on other Arcbound Ravager, put a counter on Ozolith, modular onto Walker. You guys enjoy watching me do mental math while I attempt to pilot this deck? I hope so, because that's what this is going to be. Ozolith, put the counters here, or put the counter here, since I don't have Hardened Scales, sadly. And I think I'm just going to pass. They don't need to know about my Walking Ballista. Getting it for 4, don't care. Okay. Horizon Canopy. Let's play Walking Ballista on 1. Okay. Yes. Can roll you up to 4. Sacrifice to Hangerback Walker, to Arcbound Ravager rather. Put the counters here. I think that's close to lethal. Let me see if I can do the math again. The issue is that they could totally have a bounce effect and target Walking Ballista with it, and that would be very, very sad. But I guess if they Living End again, we're still going to get our board back. So it's not really the end of the world. The counter's here. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have enough artifacts. I guess I'm just going to go for it. We have another Walking Ballista, so if they get rid of this one somehow, we can still move the counters from the Ozolith onto it. So it's not really the worst thing ever. Okay, sweet. Opponent concedes, we don't even have to go through all the clicks. That's fantastic. Because that would have been a nightmare. Let's bring in Void Mirrors, Veil of Summer. Not sure if I want Torpor Orb. It stops, like, Grief, which I don't know if they keep in, and it stops... What else would it stop? Foundation Breaker, I'm sure they have. Let's bring in Basilisk Collar and lose Shadow Spear because I want to be able to use Walking Ballista to machine gun down their flyers if I need to. Let's cut some Ancient Stirrings. Let's cut Animation Module. I don't think is very good. I think it's better for grindy matchups. And we need to cut one more thing. Maybe an Ozolith. Feels kind of weird though. Void Mirror makes Welding Jar worse, but Welding Jar makes Void Mirror better. So I don't really want to get rid of any jars. I think cutting an Ozolith is correct because I'm probably going to be just getting it with Urza Saga most of the time anyway. And relying too much on Ozolith is a way to get blown out by artifact removal if they have a way to get rid of Ozolith on the right turn. Alright, this is kind of nice. Let's keep. So we can start with Urza's Saga to get Relic into play sooner. I think that's reasonable. Go ahead and play the Ozolith. I guess we'll just draw a relic. That's definitely better, probably, I hope. But it's a little awkward with Patchwork Automaton. I think I just want to get Relic down. Since I'm on the draw, I need to be playing a bit defensive. Waker of Waves, okay. Go ahead and target you. They just get rid of their breeding pool, but that's fine. What am I getting with Urza's Saga now? Maybe just Springleaf Drum? Maybe Welding Jar? Could be fine. We draw Zabaz. Float a mana. Welding Jar, Basilisk Collar, Springleaf Drum. Could also just get another Zabaz to get some triggers to happen. I think Welding Jar is the way to play it safe, though. Relic you. They're going to probably just crack their Scalding Tarn and get rid of that. Okay. And I think I want to play my other Urza's Saga and go ahead and play Patchwork Automaton and just leave Veil of Summer up still in case it becomes relevant. They're going for just a Waker of Waves. Okay. We can get Basilisk Collar with our Urza's Saga, so I'm not that worried about that. Subtlety. This just says can't be countered, and I don't think Subtlety says counter, right? You and permanents you control gain hexproof. Spells you control don't gain hexproof. Yeah, so I can't do anything about that. That's fine. I already have another Patchy, so I think I'm going to put it on the bottom. And I think I play Zabaz now. Okay. I'll take the 7. Since I don't have anything to move the counter onto yet, it's not really worth it. Cycles when Color Avens, okay. Sounds good to me. Wonder why they're cycling main phase. Guess they were looking for a land, perhaps? Saga rolls up, we draw Inkmoth Nexus. I think I want to go ahead and play Inkmoth Nexus to get that into play and lose Summoning Sickness, and I think I'm just going to pass. Planning to chump block this turn after making a construct. Cycle Street Wraith. Do they have another Living End effect? Okay. Okay, so they got some creatures into play. What are we going to do from here? We draw Walking Ballista, that's interesting. So we drew Walking Ballista, which means we can float a mana, get Basilisk Collar, put a counter on Ballista with Ozolith, and then kill a thing. Doesn't quite kill two things. We would take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 probably. Alternatively, we make a construct, chump block, or don't chump block, we just block Street Wraith, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Either way, we're kind of in danger, but this way we get to keep a construct. I think I like the Walking Ballista plan better. So let's do that. Basilisk Collar, Razorverge Thicket, Ballista. Go to combat. Move a counter. Okay. Relic you. And they could totally just Living End again, and then I'm back to being in danger, but... Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Or what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Hopefully they don't have another cascade effect. They did not. Curator of Mysteries, okay. We draw. Horizon Canopy, that pings me for a damage. So I'm at 4. I block here, shoot. Then I just have a subtlety to deal with, which I guess isn't the worst. I'm definitely gonna die soon, though, is the issue either way. I'm not technically dead yet. Block here. Okay. Put a counter on Ballista. Shoot you. Shoot you. Okay. And they have more of this, so I am definitely just dead now because I just get Zabaz back. I don't think there's a reasonable draw that I can get to really help me here. Maybe we just need more disruption. They didn't see Void Mirror, so that's nice at least. But my god, this is a bad situation now. Okay. Do I want to change anything? Not really. Maybe there's an argument for bringing in Damping Sphere. I think it's a little bit too niche. It only really slows them down by 1 turn, generally. And I don't want to side out that heavily. So let's do it like that. Keep it the same. You guys like my mismatched void mirrors? It kind of bothers me, but I just kind of naturally opened packs and got them like this, so I haven't gotten around to buying a matching set yet. Alright, we will of course take the play again. We have Basilisk Collar, Zabaz, Springleaf Drum, bunch of lands. This hand doesn't have a lot of disruption and it doesn't really have a plan, so let's mull again. Alright, we have Urza Saga to get disruption. We have Hardened Scales, Welding Jar. I think this hand's reasonably good. We're on the play, so we don't necessarily have to play Urza Saga immediately. I think I'm going to lead on Hardened Scales and get Ravager into play on turn 2. Yeah, let's keep. Oh, whoops. Let's get rid of... what? I guess we get rid of the Forest, right? Since we have Welding Jar to fix Spire of Industries mana. And I don't really want to get rid of any of the spells. Technically should have done that in the other order, I think, so that I didn't give them the information that I need Welding Jar to get colored mana. But I still don't think they would have forced a Welding Jar, because that would be a little insane, I think. I don't know, I've forced a Ponder before. In Vintage. But it made sense at the time. Hangerback Walker. Okay. Let's go ahead and play Ravager. Opponent cycles. Okay. What you got turn 2? Shocks in a land. Foundation Breaker. On Urza Saga? Lame. Okay. Can't do anything about that. Hopefully we draw land. We do not draw land. Oh no. Okay. That's not good. I think we might be dead here. We don't have any disruption for them. If they're living in here, sure we get to keep Arcbound Ravager, but they get to Foundation Breaker to get rid of it, or something else. Hardened Scales or Welding Jar really is the options that they have. Draw Urza Saga. But if they're living in here, we get blown out again by Foundation Breaker. So let's at least go to combat first. I'm not going to just not make my land drop. Unfortunately, I don't really have that option. Alright, play Patchwork Automaton. Okay. Arcbound Ravager gains flying. Okay. Okay. Opponent cycles. Okay. They've got to have a cascade effect, right? Surely. Okay, they do. Sacrifice Patchy. Sacrifice Ravager. Okay. What is Foundation Breaker going after? I assume it's Urza's Saga still. It might be Hardened Scales. That would make sense. They have a really big board either way. We are in danger. Alright, they go after Urza's Saga. Do I have a reasonable way to do this? I don't think so. I can block a little bit, I guess. But I'm not very happy about it. I kind of want to make Patchwork Automaton larger. How much damage flying do they have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? Jesus. And I block here, here, here. Still taking a ton of damage. I think I need to make Patchwork Automaton larger. Let's run out Hangerback Walker on 0. Put 2 counters on Patchy. Okay. I assume I'm just dead here. Just attacking with the flyers, that's okay. If we draw land, we can play Walking Ballista. Oh, they have Violent Outburst, so we're dead anyway. Okay. Or at least pretty much dead. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Exactly. Old Violent Outburst used as a pump effect, the classic. Now the game's bugging out. Alright, cool. Honestly, fair enough. That was a pretty fun match, though. Living In gets it, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, round 3 with Hardened Scales. We have kind of a sketchy hand. We're on the draw. We only have 1 land, but we have an Ancient Stirring, so we could reasonably get another one, and we have 2 draws before we have to have a land. And I do like double Patchwork with Arcbound Ravager. I think I'll keep this. If I draw a land naturally on turn 1, I might play Animation Module instead of playing Ancient Stirring, so I guess we'll see. I guess it'd be better to fire off Stirrings anyway to go ahead and find a land, probably. Since that uses my colored mana a bit more efficiently, I think. Opponent suspends Crashing Footfalls. Okay. So we know what kind of match this is going to be. Draws a pause. Okay. Let's go ahead and play Stirrings. Look for a land. Cross your fingers for me. I'd really like to get a land here and then draw another land over the next couple of turns. Urza's Saga, Ozolith, Patchwork Automaton. Inspire of Industry. I don't know if I want Saga to be my only other land. Although I do like Saga, of course. If I get Saga, I'd probably wind up getting Springleaf Drum with it later. I think I do want to get Saga, because creating constructs is a decent way that we can deal with the 4/4s from Footfalls if we do draw another land. Patchwork Automaton is another way that we can get board presence that's just larger than the 4/4s. And that's really what the majority of this matchup becomes about. Probably going to plan on playing Urza's Saga Patchwork Automaton this coming turn. I think they have Fire Ice up, so they might tap our land in our upkeep. Let's see. They don't. And we draw Ink Moth Nexus. I think because we drew Ink Moth, I go for Ink Moth into Patchwork Automaton. Because if they have Fire Ice up right now, I could have played Urza's Saga and then they tap the Saga in response to the ability. And that would not be bueno. And plus this way I get to go Urza's Saga, Patchwork Automaton, and then probably Animation Module next turn. Maybe Zabaz. And start getting Patchwork triggers. Opponent doesn't play anything. I'm pretty sure that was a Fire Ice that they kept up. And because they didn't tap Razor Verge Thicket, they didn't have a reason to tap anything else. Let's see if they have a Cascade effect here. It looks like they do, since they're fetching in their main phase. They get a Forest. They might have like a Blood Moon or something. They play the main deck. Shardless Agent, okay. We see a bunch of revealed cards, pretty much a stock list from what it seems like. They do have Endurance's main deck. You don't see that all the time. Let's see what kind of board presence we can establish here. I'd like to draw Springleaf Drum. Plains, okay. We will play Urza's Saga. We will play Patchwork Automaton. Okay. Do I play Zabaz or Animation Module? I think I'm leaning Animation Module. Because that's a lot of possible 1/1s with Patchwork Automaton. And either way, I'm probably just making a construct and maybe casting Zabaz next turn. Our opponent's going to be able to get in at us, at least for this turn, but I think we might be able to stabilize after that, since it's hard for them to remove Patchwork Automaton and be mana efficient about it. They're going to have a turn here where if they play a land, they could play Stomp or Fire to kill the 2/2 Patchwork Automaton. If they attack with everything, they might kill this one. I'm definitely blocking. I'll take 8. Let's see what happens. If they Prismari command, does it trigger for each of them? I think it does, right? Yeah, it does. That's interesting. There's a decent chance they do have Prismari command, since there's probably 2 of them in their deck anyway. They stomp. They pay. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, they do have Prismari command in their deck. We saw one revealed earlier. They're going to get another Footfalls next turn. We're going to take 8 here. We're at 12. So they're going to have 8 that they can swing in with. And we'll see what we can do about that. Hangerback Walker is not that bad. I would really like to have a Hardened Scales, but we just do not right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of making a construct, I could play Hangerback Walker and get 2 counter triggers. It's probably not worth it, though. Is it worth playing Arcbound Ravager to try to get like a combo kill next turn? It might be, honestly. Because I can play Ravager. I can take 8, but that's not lethal. I can get a couple counters on Patchy. I could move the counter from Zabaz over to Patchwork Automaton so I can block and kill a Rhino, and that's not really the end of the world. And then I can get Ozolith and put the counters on Inkmoth Nexus if they tap out. I think that seems like a pretty good deal. Yes. Okay. Okay. No. Plays a boss. Gets a counter. Can't pay for animation module. Okay. Animation module plus Arcbound Ravager means that we can pump up Ravager a bunch of times if we need to. We're definitely going to sacrifice the boss here, I think, if they attack with these. Because I don't want to just happen to die to extra burn damage. They only have 1 red right now anyway, so that might not be a thing that we have to deal with. Let's see how they attack. Okay, I will be blocking. Sack you. Modular over here. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. No. Hopefully they tap out in a way that doesn't kill us. They might be incentivized to if they have removal for Patchwork Automaton. But we'll see. I would absolutely sacrifice this Arcbound Ravager to save Patchy if they give me the option. It looks like they are tapped out. I think we have them dead now to Inkmoth Nexus. Breeding Pool. Tapped means no ice. I don't think a single blue can do anything impactful enough to save them now. So that's pretty sweet. Alright, let's float. Get the Ozolith. Play Horizon Canopy. Animate Inkmoth Nexus. Play Hangerback Walker. Okay. No. Okay. I do want to pay for one of these. So I guess I'll go ahead and do that. Sack you. Humpty Tumpty Tum. Ozolith triggers. Okay. Okay. No. Sack you. Okay. No. Sack you. Okay. No. Sack. I can just sacrifice Ravager. I don't even need to sacrifice Patchwork Automaton, so that's good. So let's do that. Sack Ravager. Yes. Modular over here. Okay. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. Ozolith over here. Okay. Makes Inkmoth Nexus a 12/12. Do they have something to interact with this? Hooray! Alright. We bring in Void Mirror and Torpor Orb and maybe Prismatic Endings because we can use them to just get rid of the tokens. Basilisk Collar seems pretty good actually. We can cut Shadow Spear for that, easy peasy. I think Animation Module is probably not that good usually against them. I think we cut Stirrings. Is it worth bringing in Prismatic Endings? Probably not, honestly. I don't want to get rid of too much of the main game plan that we have. And we can already kind of make a board big enough to contend with the tokens, I think. So let's just do it like that. Trading an entire rectangle in the form of Prismatic Ending for half a rectangle or a third of a rectangle, depending on which Cascade spell they play. It's not the best deal, necessarily. Alright, we have Springleaf Drum, Esper Sentinel, Zabaz, and 2 Urza's Sagas, which could be really nice. Beseiju is definitely just a forest here. We don't really have anything we want to blow up with that, unless they play like Blood Moon. Let's keep. I think I want to just go ahead and play Horizon Canopy into Esper Sentinel on turn 1, most likely. I definitely don't want to run out Urza's Saga on 1, since I don't have any 0 drops that I can use to tap it with Springleaf Drum on 2. Zabaz. Yeah, let's play Esper Sentinel. Maybe we can get an extra card out of it. We need to be aware of both Force of Vigor and Fury as possible cards that they would have against us. They could also have Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon to deal with Urza's Saga, possibly. Are they gonna tap a thing? No. Let's play Urza's Saga. They do play Force of Vigor. Okay. Can't do anything about that, unfortunately. And they can pay the 1. What did they get rid of? They got rid of a Crashing Footfalls. They have 3 cards in hand. Okay. Let's play Springleaf Drum. Hopefully that'll help us recover our tempo a little bit. And pass. They have 4 cards in hand. They play their land. Do they have a Shardless Agent? They suspend a Crashing Footfalls. Okay. That's not that bad. I wonder if they're going to have removal for a second Urza's Saga. They play Ice. Okay. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. They used an Ice already. We draw Patchwork Automaton. That's interesting. I think I want to go ahead and play Urza's Saga. And then play Zabaz into an Ozolith. With Springleaf Drum. Our opponent has 2 cards in hand. They didn't have a Cascade effect last turn. So we're definitely not taking any damage because none of their creatures have haste, I don't think. They've already run through one of their Rhino's cards. Looks like this is a Shardless Agent. Okay. We should be able to stabilize with our constructs for now. And then Patchwork Automaton's going to grow pretty quickly too, because of the double Zabaz and Ozolith. Do they have a Force? No, they don't. They only have 1 card in hand. Inkmoth Nexus is interesting too. Let's go ahead and play that. Don't want to play the second Zabaz yet. I don't think. Yeah, I think I want to wait until I play Patchwork Automaton, right? This construct's going to trade for a Rhino, most likely. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just blocks Shardless Agent. And I take 8. Because we have a few more turns before this other Crashing Footfalls comes down. And if I need to, I can get lifelink with Urza's Saga popping. So yeah, let's just pass. I don't really want to block with Zabaz if I can help it. Because double Zabaz to make the modular trigger go up by 1 and then also Ozolith together is a nice little synergistic thing to do. They're attacking with everything. Okay. Not going to tap the Horizon Canopy. Let's block. If they have a Bone Crusher Giant or something, that's fine. I could have actually... No, I couldn't have played around it, really. Never mind. Maybe I could have played around it by taking 1 extra damage and tapping Horizon Canopy and leaving Springleaf Drum untapped, so then Zabaz could, like, kill itself and move the counter over to the construct. Technically. It's kind of a weird line, though. They have a second Shardless Agent. Okay. So we've seen all of their Footfalls now. Because they have 2 in the graveyard and 2 in exile. No more Rhinos for a couple turns at the very least. Hardened Scales. Does Hardened Scales mean that we can kill them with Inkmoth Nexus? If we get another Zabaz? I think it might. They only have 1 card in hand. We know they're not interacting with us. I'm gonna believe in myself. Animate Inkmoth Nexus. I don't want to do the math too quickly. We already have an Ozolith. Get Zabaz. Keep this one. Ozolith gets a counter. Zabaz moves over to here, right? I guess it might be better to... Does it matter? I think it's better to move it. Play Beseiju. Play Hardened Scales. play Zabaz. Destroy target artifact you control. Keep this one. Counters on Ozolith, counters on Zabaz again. Puts it up to 7. Oh yeah, they're definitely dead to Inkmoth Nexus. Destroy target artifact you control, targeting itself. Tap for a red. That's the first time I've used that ability. And I've played like 3 leagues with this deck. Modular over here. Okay. Damn, Inkmoth Nexus just going all the way. Holy shit. 19 Infect. Would you look at that? That Hardened Scales was a fantastic top deck. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 4 with Scales. We won the die roll again. We've been pretty lucky with that so far. Can't complain. Double Zabaz, Walking Ballista, a bunch of lands, but in the lands we have an Inkmoth Nexus and an Urza Saga. I think I will keep. Let's play Razorverge Thicket, Zabaz. Pass the turn. See what our opponent's up to. We have a decently resistant hand to different things because of Urza Saga. Opponent plays Mishra's Bauble, so it looks like they could be either Murktide or Death Shadow. They play Steam Vents, looks a bit more like Murktide now. Still could go either way, though. They pass. That looks like Murktide to me. Makes me think they're going to kill those Zabaz. Let's play Saga. Okay. Play Walking Ballista. They shoot Zabaz, that's fine. We pass. Snow-covered island, definitely Murktide now. They don't play any creatures still, that's kind of interesting. Saga ticks up, we play Inkmoth Nexus. Let's attack for 1. Opponent bolts us. We will ping them. And we're about to make a very small construct. What do I get with Urza Saga? Normally I go straight for the Ozolith, but we don't really have a setup for it right now. I think Animation Module might be a decent pick. But that incentivizes me not to play Zabaz yet, because I want to get the +1/+1 counter. And ooh, Hardened Scales is a good pickup. I think I'm leaning towards Animation Module here. Welding Jar could be decent. Yeah, I think Module's the pick. Because that means I can go wide and make a bunch of artifacts by getting counters and then grow my constructs that way. Do they have a counter spell? They have a Spell Pierce. Okay, that's fine. It's a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world. We will attack for 3, see if they have a bolt for us. They have 4 cards in hand. It looks like they have a bolt. Okay. Expressive Iteration. Do they have a Murktide they're going to play this turn, I wonder? Definitely a possibility. They exile a Ragavan instead. Okay. They didn't dash it. I would have thought that they would dash it there. Let's play Welding Jar. The Unholy Heat. We don't have a way to get... We can get up to 3, but they have Delirium already, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So we play Zabaz. We get a trigger from animation module. We will pay for it. Play Horizon Canopy, plan on cracking that. And pass. Expressive iteration. Opponent has 2 cards in hand currently. If they get a Murktide, that could be trouble for us for sure. If they attack with Ragavan, I think I'm definitely blocking, but I'm not sure if I block with Zabaz or the Servo. Because blocking with Zabaz could actually get us more triggers here. Unholy Heat on Zabaz. What does that mean for us? Do I animate Inkmoth Nexus and put the counter on Nexus? I think I might just put it on the Servo token. Yeah, I think I just put it on the Servo token. And I'll pay here for that instead of popping Horizon Canopy. God damn it. Okay. Yes. Alright, we untap. What do we draw? Arcbound Ravager. Okay. That's pretty spicy. Let's play Ravager. Now we get to do the Ravager animation module thing. That's pretty sweet. I think I only want to do it twice because I think I want to have the option to move the counters over to Inkmoth Nexus. Maybe I only do it twice. Not actually sure. They only have 2 cards in hand. I'm definitely not attacking with Inkmoth Nexus here, so I might as well do this now. And I do have Welding Jar to protect everything anyway, so I guess I don't really need that. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go through the motions. Yes. Okay. Attack for 3. I could see them blocking the 2/2 here, or just taking all 3. Yeah, they blocked the 2/2, that's fine. Welding Jar is here to protect Arcbound Ravager at this point. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. They don't play a threat. Do they have a Murktide? Nope. Okay. Hangerback Walker, that's pretty spicy. Do I want to play that main phase 1 or 2? Probably just main phase 2. Go to combat. Attack with the boys. See if they want to play anything. I feel like they have counterspell stuck in their hand. Dress down. Let's go ahead and do this at least once. I think I want to do it a couple times. Yeah, maybe I actually just go all the way with it and don't play Hangerback Walker yet. Okay. Yes. I'm going to get it up to 7. Okay. Yes. And I think that's good for now. I'll leave the one other counter for next turn. Don't want to worry about it quite yet, since it doesn't change the clock anyway. They're drawing 2 cards. That's fine. So they did have a counter spell, so I was right not to play Hanger Backwalker. And opponent concedes. Sweet. Easy peasy. So we bring in Relic. We bring in Pithing Needle. Do we bring in Prismatic Endings or Veil of Summer or some combination? Prismatic Ending is pretty good against Ragavan. But we already have a lot of blockers for that, so I don't know how necessary it is. I think Ancient Stirrings leaves against the counterspell heavy deck. Animation Module was pretty sweet, so I'm going to keep it. Maybe I just don't sideboard that heavily against them. I think I definitely bring in Basilisk Collar and cut down Shadow Spear, because Collar can deal with their big Murktides for us. Maybe I cut an Ozolith for something? Cut an Ozolith, bring in 1 Prismatic Ending, maybe? Or Veil of Summer? Veil of Summer not protecting us from the majority of their removal is kind of annoying, so I don't think it's as good as it could be. So I think I want the Prismatic End, and I kind of want a second Prismatic Ending, but I don't know what I would cut, and we already kind of have blockers for Ragavan, so I think I'm just going to do it like that. Call that good enough. Alright, we have Relic, we have Esper Sentinel, which is really nice. Let's keep it. Them playing moon effects would be really bad for us. I think that's the main thing that we're afraid of them doing. Hardened Scales. I think they're representing either Spell Pierce or removal. If they play Spell Pierce into our Hardened Scales, I'd be very sad. But if they play removal into our Esper Sentinel, I wouldn't really care. So let's just play Esper Sentinel. They don't have counters on turn 1 for non-blue creatures. So that's very nice to know. Lightning Bolt, they spend their whole turn 2 getting rid of Esper Sentinel. I'm very okay with that. And now they're tapped out, so we get to go Urza's Saga. Okay. Play Relic. Keep you off of Murktide for a little bit. Play Hardened Scales. That's going to make our Walking Ballista and our Arcbound Ravager much better. And now we have our colored spell out of our hand too. If they play a moon effect here, we can just continue to play our colorless stuff. Expressive Iteration. They don't have anything to play yet. Interesting. Maybe they're looking for like land into Ragavan or something. If they play Ragavan, I'll absolutely play Walking Ballista and Machine Gun it. I'm not sure if I'd rather make a construct or go ahead and get down Pithing Needle, so they can't play Expressive Iteration on 1 or 0. Scalding Tarn, okay. They just pass. I think in that case I want the construct, because I want to maintain as many rectangles as possible. Let's go ahead and Relic them. Try to keep them off Murktide a bit longer. Next turn, if I draw a land, I might have enough mana to where I can play Walking Ballista and also get Basilisk Collar and equip it, if they use all their mana for Murktide here. Magus of the Moon. Okay. Esper Sentinel's going to be stuck in our hand for a little while, it looks like, but that's fine. We can use Walking Ballista to get rid of their Magus. Sabaz. I do kind of think I want to go ahead and get Needle down. But getting down Ravager also seems really good. Oh no. I think I need to get Needle down because it's a bit too likely that they have Engineered Explosives on one. And that would be very, very annoying. Getting rid of our Hardened Scales. Let's go ahead and play Zabaz. It's a 2-2. I will trade for your Magus if you offer it to me. There's a decent chance they just remove the Zabaz, though. 3 cards in their hand. What is this, a Fury? It's a Murktide. Okay. So they got their Murktide down. We drew a Plains, so we can play Esper Sentinel now. So that's neat. Let's play Arcbound Ravager. I think I'm good for now. If they go to remove something, I can move counters around and possibly protect whatever it is. So we'll see. Expressive Iteration. Do I want to move counters over to Esper Sentinel in response? Probably not, since it's not in response to removal. We'll see what they get with Iteration. They're probably going to get in with the Murktide here, I feel like, since they have kind of a high life total. We might be able to surprise them with Walking Ballista. Let's not relic them because they just get a +1/+1 counter on their Murktide if we do that. Murktide gets in. End of turn, we're going to relic them, though, to try to keep them off Delirium for the future, because we're probably blocking Murktide with Zabaz this coming turn. Yield to the Mishra's Bauble trigger. Hangerback Walker, that's interesting. That definitely gets us closer to having a combo kill. They don't have Counterspell up, they could have Removal up. They're 17. Let's play Hangerback Walker. Don't want to let them know about Walking Ballista quite yet. Go to combat. Attack. Attack. Not gonna relic yet. Opponent takes 4 down to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they play a land, they can play another Murktide, and I'm kind of just fine with that. Like, I don't really care. I would actually love for my opponent to be tapped out for a turn. If they tap their blue mana, that'd be great. We're gonna take 6. That would put us down to how much? That would put us down to 8. And then we're 3 bolts away from dying. I'm kind of fine with that, though. If they have 3 bolts, they can kill us. At that point, it's fine. I want to get some more counters on Hangerback Walker before I completely get rid of that. I am going to go for Walking Ballista cast next turn, I think. Because I want to see if it resolves. Urza's Saga? Well, that's useless. Play Ballista. Leave up the white so we can activate Zabaz. If we want to give it flying. Okay. Go to combat. Attack, attack. Let's... sacrifice an artifact, sacrificing Relic to put counters on Ravager. Opponent taps a red, plays Unholy Heat on Arcbound Ravager. Do I care? I'm definitely not going to pop the Engineered Explosives. I might pop the Zabaz here, though. They have 3 cards in hand. Let's roll up Hangerback Walker. Opponent bolts Hangerback Walker in response. So we're going to sacrifice an artifact, sacrificing Zabaz. Modular onto Hangerback Walker. Five counters on Walker, so it lives through Lightning Bolt now. Hangerback gets 2 more counters up to 7. Esper Sentinel triggers. Opponent pays for it, and Unholy Heat resolves, dealing 2. We kill Ragavan, our opponent has 2 cards in hand. Is my opponent dead? I think so, because they only have blue up. So let's sacrifice Hangerback Walker. Always yield. Yeah, they're definitely dead. I can move all the counters over to Walking Ballista, and Hangerback Walker is worth 14, 15, 16 counters just by itself. Sack. Sack. Okay, sweet. Freaking Walking Ballista. Really good finisher. Alright, see you in the next one. Alright, final round with Hardened Scales. We won the die roll again. Been very lucky with that so far. 2 lands. We don't have green mana, but we don't need it right now with this hand, and we could get Springleaf Drum with this Urza's Saga. We have a bunch of Walking Ballistas, maybe more than we need necessarily. But we have a Patchwork Automaton and a Hangerback Walker also. I think I'll keep. Nothing to play on turn 1. We will pass. Hopefully we draw another land. I would like to get some constructs out of this saga, and it looks like we might be against Affinity, since they're leading on Welding Jar, Spire of Industry. Whoa! It's a mirror! Oh my god! I would not have expected to see a mirror with this deck. Okay, let's play Saga. Let's play Patchy. And we don't have a Hardened Scales, but our opponent does. But they have a Welding Jar, and it probably doesn't matter, since our only removal that's going to be relevant against them is a Beseiju. That's a one-of in our deck. Main deck, at least. I'm going to place Hangerback Walker and place Inkmoth Nexus. Interesting. We draw Zabaz. Play Razorverge Thicket. I think I do want to get things onto the board this turn, but I don't know in what order necessarily. Because I can get Ozolith next turn, so that might be something that I want to do. I do think I want to deploy some things. Let's go ahead and get Walking Ballista and Zabaz into play, and then attack a little bit. This will give them something to use their Welding Jar on if they want to chump it. They do not, and we will pass. Opponent plays Ancient Stirrings. Okie dokie. God damn it. There we go. Damn, my mouse is freaking out again. I really need to get one that connects via cord instead of wireless. I think that's my main issue. Because it'll have plenty of battery, but just be like freaking out sometimes. And I think it might just be because it's kind of cheap. But I don't know. So I can get an Ozolith, but I don't have a Hardened Scales yet. And a bunch of Walking Ballistas is not necessarily what I want. Arcbound Ravager, okay. Welding Jar. Maybe I just make a Construct this turn, depending on what I draw. If I draw an Arcbound Ravager, I think I get an Ozolith and just see if I can go for the win. Opponent plays an Ozolith of their own, but doesn't play any creatures. They're just going to roll up their Hangerback Walker. Okay. They have 2 Welding Jars, that's kind of annoying. Do I want to get a Construct here? They're going to be able to grow Inkmoth Nexus a bunch, probably. They might be able to kill me with Inkmoth Nexus if I'm not careful next turn, actually. So I think I need to have Zabaz open to block with, which I think means that we're doing this. Let's see. I could get Animation Module. I could get Shadow Spear, kind of makes sense. Springleaf Drum. I think I need action more than anything else. I think I want an Ozolith. Yeah. Let's get an Ozolith. Let's get a Hangerback Walker into play. Rolls up Patchy to 4. Opponent's at 15. If I play out a 0-drop, I can attack with Patchwork Automaton for 5. Yeah, let's run out a Walking Ballista. Keep the pressure on. I think we're already like naturally in a worse spot than our opponent is. Just because they actually have the Namesake card and an Ozolith already. Even though they don't have as many dudes on board as we do. Okay. Counters get put on Ozolith. The opponent makes a bunch of dorks. And we will pass. I think we're still in a spot where Arcbound Ravager is the main thing that we want to draw. Opponent plays Grove of the Burn Willows, so they're playing the Gruul version of the deck. It's white to do that, right? Yeah. We definitely have to block because they can use Arcbound Ravager to move counters over no matter what. I didn't shoot them in response because they have the welding jar, and it doesn't change that much for us. I'd rather have a walking ballista already in place so I can possibly threaten them with a Ravager top deck. Gain flying. We block. Like so. Ozolith gets a counter. Zabaz moves the counter over to, I think, Hangerback Walker if we're trying to draw Arcbound Ravager. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Oh, it has a bunch of -5 counters on it. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Wait, onto target creature. Holy shit, I can kill something with that. That's very funny, actually. Let's play Urza Saga. Let's... We need to get flyers again. Let's play Hangerback Walker. We can use Walking Ballista to pop this Hangerback Walker. And I think I want to use the Ozolith to shrink and possibly kill their Arcbound Ravager. Although that passes the counters over to them. This is going to be a really weird game. This is going to be a very weird game. Let's attack with Patchy. But first we're going to move our counters over. Alright, they let it die. They get the -5 counters. But less of them. What a strange interaction. This looks like a really fun mirror match, actually. I haven't been able to play it before, but I didn't realize that both players having the Ozolith could mean you can have this passing back and forth of counters thing. It's very interesting. Opponent's going to get a modular trigger, and they're going to get both +1/+1 and -1 counters on their Ozolith, so I think those are going to cancel out and just have like a couple minus counters. Opponent thinks that it's a bug. That's funny. So whenever I block the Inkmoth Nexus, I'm going to be able to kill a creature of theirs with Ozolith. Alright, so they're going to get that modular... I don't think does anything because it got -1 counters. Does it do something? I'm curious. Okay, it did do something. They have 3 -1/-1 counters on their Ozolith, so they can still kill something if they want to with it. Let's get in with Patchy. Are they letting us get in, it looks like? Okay, sweet. Opponent's at 9. We're gonna have to cash in Walking Ballista to shoot our 1/1 Hangerback Walker, it looks like. Because, because they got... Okay, they're putting the -1 counter on Ballista. So I do need to move here. That means they still have the minus counters, but I get a plus counter on my Ozolith. This is so weird. Like, holy shit. And we're still kind of just hoping to draw an Arcbound Ravager. But a bit less now, I think. Opponent plays Patchwork Automaton. They have one card in their hand. They play another Patchwork Automaton. Okay. We really just didn't want to see Ravager there. Patchwork Automaton is still threatening, but doesn't mean that they can kill us with any of their flyers immediately. So that's something at least. Play Razorverge Thicket. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ozolith is going to move a counter to... Patchy. So we can attack in with Patchy again. Do we attack in with Patchy again? I think so. Because we still have blockers. We're at 16, which isn't that bad. They chump block. That's fine. Maybe we can threaten them by getting Shadow Spear next. Walking Ballista on 2. Which is going to get 3 counters. Puts a counter on both of their Patchwork Automatons. Okay. Can't do anything about that. Ozolith puts counters on Hangerback Walker, so I guess we'll see now if that gives us tokens or not. I hope it gives us tokens, but we'll see. Please. Sweet. I don't know why it gives us tokens. I think it should cancel out. Alright, so we get Thopters. This is so freaking weird. Opponent doesn't attack. That's a welcome sight. Let's get a construct. It's a 7/7. That's not bad. Do I just make another construct here, maybe? To try to get as much board presence as possible? I think that's reasonable. And I can have 2 mana to either play a 1/1 Walking Ballista or equip Shadow Spear. And I think I'm going to equip Shadow Spear this turn. I think that's reasonable. Animation module might be kind of sweet. This is so weird. I already have an Ozolith, so I'm definitely not getting that. I guess I do just get Shadow Spear, right? since I'm going to be able to block forever and my opponent's not really close to killing me with Infect, I can stabilize with Life. Alright, let's attack for 10. Yeah, I think I attack with the Patchwork Automaton too, probably. Maybe. Maybe I just attack with the Construct, actually. Because if they block with stuff with +1/+1 counters, they're going to be able to move all those over to Ozolith and then have a threat again. I don't necessarily want to deal with that. Oh shit, they're going to be able to move the counters over to Walking Ballista. I think I'm dead. Well, no, I'm going to gain 10 life. Maybe I'm not. I guess we'll see. Weird-ass game. Alright, so they're not actually killing our Construct, which is interesting. Oh, they're killing these. Okay, so they're going to kill the Construct. Let's do it like that, I guess. I'd rather have them have less counters on the Ozolith to move around. We're at 24. I think we might be dead to Inkmoth Nexus now because they can move counters over to Walking Ballista and then kill our... Let's see how they do it. They still need a sacrifice outlet to be able to do that, I think. They play Ancient Stirrings, letting us gain a life. They get Arcbound Ravager, that's pretty scary. I think that means that we're dead now because they get to sack their Patchwork Automatons and move all the counters over to Walking Ballista and Ozolith. So I think they just have to see the line now. Well, that was a crazy game. I am going to make them actually do it, I guess. Because these decks are complicated enough that it's possible that they wouldn't figure it out. Okay, they sack Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, they definitely see the line, unfortunately. Sack. Yup. Sack. Yup. And when they move the counters over, I'll concede. Yep, okay. Opponent sees it. Walking Ballista machine guns us down. We're going to bring in Natural States. We're going to bring in Basilisk Collar for sure. I don't know if Pithing Needle's right. It feels a little goofy. Let's cut Ancient Stirrings. Let's cut Shadow Spear, since we brought in Basilisk Collar. I definitely want double Ozolith, just so I have the option. And I think Esper Sentinel's kind of bad. Let's bring in Prismatic Endings. I think I want to make sure that they don't have a Hardened Scales if I have the option. Esper Sentinel's really susceptible to the removal that they're going to have, so it's not really worth going in on too bad. And I think Animation Module is a bit too slow. So we're bringing in basically just a ton of removal to try to make sure our opponent doesn't have the combo that they need to have. We can't really do anything with this hand, and since we don't have a second land, I don't think it's likely enough that we draw one, so let's mulligan. Let's see. Alright, we have Natural State again. We have 2 lands. We're definitely keeping those. We have Arcbound Ravager, Hangerback Walker, and then we keep either Basilisk Collar or Welding Jar. Let's get rid of, I think, Collar. Yeah. So then we can use Welding Jar to protect our Arcbound Ravager. Play you. Play you. Pass the turn. Kind of sucks to have to use the Beseiju as a land, but it's not the worst since we have a Natural State anyway. Gonna place Ancient Stirrings. Okay. What do they find with their Ancient Stirrings? I really hope that I find a Scales pretty early in this game. But we'll see. Opponent finds a walking ballista with it. Okay. Okay. Razor Verge Thicket. Let's go ahead and play that. Let's play Hangerback Walker. That way we can start rolling it up as soon as possible. Opponent plays Urza's Saga. Plays Walking Ballista. Okay. We draw Patchwork Automaton. Do I just get rid of their Urza's Saga now? And do I roll up Hangerback Walker or do I play Patchwork? I think I definitely do this now. And I think I want to get Patchy into play. So then I can play Arcbound Ravager, get a counter on Patchwork Automaton, and then also roll up Hangerback Walker next turn. And I can protect Walker with Welding Jar for a turn. And that's fine. I guess I could have attacked there. Definitely should have. It would have been a free damage. Opponent plays Zabaz off of Inkmoth Nexus. Would really like to draw a Hardened Scales. When it gets another Zabaz, that's fine. That means they're going to be able to kill things with Walking Ballista, which is a little sad, but is okay. This is annoying. Let's use Welding Jar, make them use another counter off Walking Ballista. Okay. Is that it? Okay. Get a dork. Untap. Natural State. Okay, that's a good draw. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and play Arcbound Ravager. So they don't just get to kill the Thopter token in response. Natural State Walking Ballista, because Walking Ballista is kind of a pain in the ass. They can ping our Thopter or us if they want to. They ping us. They ping our Arcbound Ravager. We sacrifice Thopter in response. That's fine. Okay. Attack for 2. They take the 2 down to 18. They have 4 cards in hand. They do have more cards than we do right now, but I guess we'll just have to see how the game cracks out from here. But they definitely have more rectangles than we do at this point. Grove of the Burn Willows. Patchwork Automaton. What you got? Nature's Claim. Alright, that resolves, I guess. No reason to sack it to itself and just not gain 4 life. Modular over to Patchwork. Yes. Alright, we do have the bigger creature still, but we don't really have many things going on, unfortunately. We go down to 21. We draw Horizon Canopy. Let's go ahead and crack that, see if we draw something to play. Walking Ballista, that's not too bad. That means we can attack for 1 more at least. Combat for 5. Okay. Okay. And I'll leave the Walking Ballista in play for now and not worry about hitting Zabaz yet. I'd rather hit something spicier if I get the option. Or possibly start rolling up Walking Ballista if I draw another land. Opponent attacks for 2. Maybe they just don't have much of a clock. They played another land. They only have 2 cards in hand. Do they have more removal, maybe? Or are they just flooding out? We draw an Ozolith. Okay. I'm not going to complain about that. We get to roll up. Patchy. They besage you. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't get the counters on Patchwork Automaton. Moved on to Ozolith. Otherwise, we would have a very chunky Walking Ballista, and I'd be very happy about that. Let's get a Plains. Ozolith comes into play. Our board state's kind of shit right now. But we have enough lands to where we can start plussing Ballista, I guess. Ancient Stirrings, so they're going to get to grow their Patchwork Automaton here, probably. I'm not even sure what the best sequence of draws would be for us from here. This deck needs such a, massive cards to actually be able to win, and we do not have it right now. Opponent plays Hardened Scales, plays a Walking Ballista, it's bigger than ours. And I think we're fucked, basically, because our opponent just has more things than we do, and because of their Walking Ballista and the pressure that they're applying, I don't think we can really recover from this board state in time. We draw Hardened Scales, doesn't do anything for us, because they can just kill our Walking Ballista if we do anything with it. Might as well go ahead and play it, I guess. They can put 2 more counters on their Walking Ballista, and we're basically just dead. Because I don't think there's a top deck that helps us enough. At least I think that's correct. Yep, they get the counters, that's fine. Okay. It's not even worth shooting Zabaz, because then the counter from Zabaz becomes 2 counters on their Walking Ballista. So it's better just to put the counter on Ozolith and maybe get to do something later with it. We're at 9. We draw Prismatic Ending. We could prismatically end Walking Ballista. They would deal 3 damage to us in response, which would put us at 6. Or they would not, and they would leave the counters on Walking Ballista and then move them to... Oh, they don't have an Ozolith. Never mind. Okay. So that's something at least. Let's Prismatic End Walking Ballista. That might help us stabilize, but we're going to be 1 top deck away from being dead. Okay. Opponent's going to ping me down to 6. They have 4 damage on board. Things are spooky. Opponent finds another Walking Ballista. And we're dead. Unfortunate. GG's to our opponent. It was pretty cool to see a mirror match, I'm not gonna lie. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future for future content. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. Even though it seems like it should be kind of similar, it is definitely very different from regular Affinity. Much more math intensive. So if you like doing mental math a lot while you're playing Magic, definitely think about it. Didn't really get anything from the treasure chests, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.